Hi everyone, I'm Marieanne, the Artsie Crafter. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to finish creating the cover for this journal, and then we will bind the pages into the journal and finish us off with the binding and all that good stuff. So to get started, I will move this one aside here, and I've already cut my journal cover down, so it's 7.5 inches high, or 19 centimeters by 6 3/4 wide, which is 17.5 centimeters wide. That just gives you a little bit of extra room for those pages when you start working in them and bulking them up with pockets and tucks and tags and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to start by working on the inside of the journal, covering that first. And I've already cut out I've got some book pages here, and they're just a little bit bigger than the cover, which is great, because that's what I want. Because I've cut this one down, and I'm going to place these two on the end, and then this one in the middle, like such. But before I do that, I've got to get my tape out. This isn't totally necessary, depending on what you're using on here, because we'll actually be binding through here, but just to give it a little bit of extra strength on the spine, which won't be the spine, it'll just be the cover, and it will be covered anyway, but you do get wear and tear along there sometimes, so I'm just going to put some tape along that spine. As I said, it's not really the spine, it's just well, it is kind of the spine. I don't know what you'd call it, because it's not really acting as the spine of the pages, strictly speaking. Anyway, that just gives it a little bit extra. As I said, this is optional, depending on how thick the card or the paper that you're using. You could use a paper bag. As I said, this is an exercise book. It's a soft cover, so you could use, something like a cereal box cardboard type thing, but I prefer something a little bit softer. But that's up to you. It's your journal. You can cover it with anything you want. So I want this when I glue these in, I'll glue that on top, because I think it'll give a neater edge. You could ink the edges if you want. I'm not going to do that. I want the book page to be longer than the journal, so I can wrap the edges over, like so. So just to cover up those edges, so they don't show, especially if you're using a coloured cardstock or something rather. You may not want those edges to show, but it gives that nice finish of being wrapped, like a present. So I will divide this in half here, so I know where the center is, and I'll just reinforce that spine, and I'll just use my thumb, because it's just too much effort to reach over there and get my bone folder. Actually, my bone folder isn't in the drawer. I don't know where it's gone to. It's disappeared with everything else that goes missing around here. So that's what that's going to be like. And then these ones, I will line these up, and I want these to overhang as well. So hopefully I will, and I've lost a pencil. There we go. So I'll just mark where I want to glue these pages in. And so pretty much that one. And this one. Better do this so that it does work. This one is a shorter page. Okay, I'll have to change this one up. I don't know. I must have started cutting it down for something else. Anyway, I have a couple on hand, spares, so about there. and I'll just mark a line. This one seems longer. Okay, this is where it should be. It gives me plenty of room. And my pencil, so I mark this off. So that goes there. And the center. Then fold that out, and I'm just joining it to where there's where the what do you call it? Where the writing starts. I can't think of that word. How silly. In the gutter, is it? I'm not sure. The gutter of the book. Oops. And it helps to draw a straight line. This is just a guide. So I'll move these aside, and then I can put glue on here, attach them, and then do the middle section. And I'll get the right glue here. Now that's all glued down. I can turn this over and we can work on this side. Make sure that glues down. And now we're just going to cut off the corners here. We'll just draw these lines along the edge of the paper, the journal cover. You want these intersecting lines at the ends. Okay, so now we're just going to be cutting off, cutting these out like so. And then it's a matter of gently folding these flaps over. So I usually do opposite ends, starting from the middle, and especially on the long end, start from the middle and gently press these over these flaps so they don't tear. And this one mustn't have had enough glue on it. Do the same on this side. Gently fold them over so we don't tear the papers. Now it's just a matter of gluing these down. So the corners will go in that way. So it might be, I didn't do that on the end. You just cut a bit off here so that when you fold the flaps over, this doesn't stick out the end over the edge there. It's inside. These ones look good. So now it's just a matter of I glue the ends. You can do it in any order you want, but I just find it easier to glue the ends down first. And there you go, that's the inside of the cover finished for this first step anyway. And then, you know, it's up to you what you want to do, and also I've glued them on upside down, but so I'll have it that way. I don't want my writing upside down. The journal, oh, it's all up the right way. I was just holding it upside down. Whew. Not that it really matters because you're not going to see any of this when we finish decorating. So I went ahead and got some these elements here that I picked out for the front, and this is the closest to a secret garden I could find. The image there, and I'm going to use more book page, and this time I've inked the edges up, so it just creates a background. And then this panel is one that I've painted. It was in my stash, so I thought that would make a nice frame for this image. So I'll place that there. And then I cut this out of the book that I was out of the little diary there, The Secret Garden, and that will be the title. And this is just a piece of what do you call it? Scrapbook paper. So I just place that perhaps along there, and then I'll center that up with the image. And then, of course, no secret garden be complete without some animals in it. So I've got butterfly is for an insect, and this cute little baby deer image. He's so tiny. He can sit there near the gate, and I'll just overlap that a little bit. And then on the spine, I've already got this ready, and I'm going to put that there. And then I have this, thought it'd be nice to add a rose, because there's roses in the garden, so I thought that would be nice on the spine along there. So that's my plan for my journal cover. And then take that off, and this will, I'll wrap this around to the back, and I'll cut it off or tear it off when I get this other image. This is out of the book, out of the book, I keep calling it, well, it is book, out of the diary. And it will, you can see how those edges of that book page cover it nicely and give a nice background. And then once I glue this onto the front, I'll wrap it over, and I'll know I want to overlap it here along this edge, this page, this music sheet. So that will be on the edge there, like you saw in this journal here. So I'll put that aside. The other thing I was going to have was, that was on there, and I've got this panel here with a nice rustic edge. I thought I'd put that down first, and then on top, and then my image like such, like so, just to give a bit of variation. So I might go, oh, not might go ahead, I will go ahead and glue this down, and you'll see that this part will be all covered up, so that I'm only putting one sheet of the book page in the background, because I've cut this to the height of the journal cover, so you won't see that when it's all put together. So I'll go ahead and put this front panel on, and then I'll show you how I'm going to do the back panel. So I've glued everything down so far, and I just have to fold that over. It's a little bit crooked up the top there, but I don't think I can adjust it now when I put it across. When you've got uneven edges here, it's good to glue. I glued the cover, applied glue to the cover first, and then I applied glue to the edge of this panel, just so because it's very difficult. It'd be almost impossible to know where to put the glue, and you don't want the glue to be sticking out on the surface there. So that's how I do, when you've got irregular lines, you glue the edge on one panel, and then you glue close to the edge on the other panel, and that way you won't have the glue showing. Also, the other thing I consider when I'm putting elements on the page is I like to overlap your elements with the other elements, just from there and here. It just gives you a more cohesive look to your page or your cover. They're just little elements. I mean, they're something that you don't have to do, but it just adds, as I said, it makes the look, it looks all one element, all one picture that way. So it gives the illusion of looking like it's all one picture. I'll put this on once again. I'm going to overlap this, and I might wrap some of this around the edge, and because I just want to get rid of this edge here, a little bit of that edge, so I might line it up. You mightn't have to go over the edge, over the other side, but we'll see. These are all personal preference. There's no rules really, so I might do it like that instead of bothering with wrapping around the edge. Might be easier. So you've got dark and light elements in both the cutout and the picture. So when you overlap, and you've got a dark background there and a light background on this side, so when you do overlap, it almost looks like it's just one big picture. So that's what I was talking about, you know, to make it all look cohesive. And then I've got this panel ready to go, so I'll glue that down, and then I can gauge where I want to tear this panel here. So that's what I'll do next. Okay, so it's just a matter of tearing this panel out, and I might start somewhere here. I can just draw the line and gauge where that edge of that I want it to sort of just be on this border here, so it's roughly comes down here. It doesn't matter if it's better to cut out a little bit less than too much, because you can always tear a bit more off. I'll just tear this all the way down first. That's pretty much where I want it. I could tear a little bit more off, but it's getting a little bit hard to get to. I'll get rid of my pencil mark. Okay. I'll see how that works out. That's fine. And before I glue it down, I'll ink the edges. And now I'll glue this panel down. Just need to flatten it out and fold those creases down if they appear on the spine there. And there we go. There's our journal cover. We'll get to putting the holes, punching out the holes. So we've got our little template that we made in the last video. If you haven't seen the video, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. We just want to line that up right on that edge and get my trusty little clips. I must go and buy some bigger clips. I don't know where the other ones disappeared to. They're probably having a holiday with my bone folder. And I will, because it's so hard to see where the holes are through the vellum, I will draw the circles out and take the vellum away. The vellum, it's tracing paper actually. Could have also done that on the back as well. Anyway, I've done it on the front now. Take that off and punch the holes. Get rid of all that. And so here's the moment of truth. So these line up. And they do. Just push them down a bit. Yeah, you got your holes all lined up. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so now it's a matter of threading some ribbon through. So that's why you want your holes to be large enough for that to happen. Also helps to have something. I've got a blunt. If you got a blunt needle or something blunt and pointy, it helps to push the ribbon through. So all I do is push it through from the front, and you can use ribbon or string or thread, and that way you'll be able to you could use a needle to do this as well if you use some thinner thread. It goes through to the back. It's supposed to be the easy bit. There we go. So I thread it through from the front, both ends. The other way you could do it is if you had short pieces, you could poke it through individual pieces of string, and then just show you quickly, you could tie these up individually into bows, so you'd have 3 lots of bows or 3 lots of knots there. So that's another way you could do it, but I'm going to do it the same way. So that's just another option of how you can make the binding. Get these, make sure they're even, the ends are even, like that. And this is the challenging bit here, is you've got to poke both these ends back through the paper, and this has come out. I can't find the hole. Got to get it right into the spine. Should have clamped it down, I think. Would have been better. If you find the hole moves around, you can just poke it through the cover first, and then the pages, and then the back cover. So it makes it easier to get it through, rather than trying to poke it through all the pages all together. I mean, everything together. And you should be able to see it on this side. Come on. There we go. Make sure it's all through. Just pull these threads through. There we go. And then you want one strand of your ribbon on one side of this center piece. There. So you want them on a piece on each side of this center one, so that you can tie it up as a knot. But before I do that, I want to add some, like I did speak English, like I did with this one. I tied some extra, the green ribbon with the maroon ribbon. You don't want to put too much thickness of ribbon through your spine, because then it would prevent the pages from turning smoothly. So the way to combat that is that put a piece of ribbon in the center here before I tie a knot, the first knot, and then you can either tie these together or tie them separately. I tie them together, and I usually, to get the length of ribbon, I usually, from that hole to that hole, 5 times. I measure it out 5 times, so that gives you this length. And this one here is about, what did I say? It was about 20 inches, I think it was. No, it's longer than that. Was it longer than that? Was that 10? Yeah, it's about 20 inches long, which is what, 50 centimeters, roughly. Okay, so now you want the ribbon to sit roughly lengthways along your spine. So the way I do that is I have, and I probably tie it left-handed, but anyway, you'll get the idea. So when you tie it over, you want the pretty, if you're doing a double bow, double ribbon, you want the left, the pretty one on the outside, and then when you fold this one over, you want the wrong side, the bottom one showing, and it will go over, and then, sorry, the, it takes me a while to remember, you want the pretty side to go over, so when you fold it over, it's now on the underside of those two strands, and when you push it through, it'll, you probably already know all this, but for those who didn't, I had to experiment to get it right. So when you push it through, it will be on the top. And then now it's just a matter of, it's up to you how big you want your ribbon, the loops, and this one needs to go a bit thinner, I think, and also be a bit even. I think that's good enough. And then it's just a matter of cutting it off to the desired length, and I'm going to do it the same length as the bow to start with, like that, and I think that's really pretty. So that's the cover. I might play around with it and make it a little bit, those bows a bit smaller, but that's, you know, personal preference. So I can take these clips off, and the journal's finished. It's all in and neat. So the next little step, before you do that bow and you got the ribbon through, it's handy because that knot's going to get in the way. And because I know from last time I forgot to do it too. All I do is I fold this over to, this is where your holes are in your spine. So you want to fold this along on this side. Don't fold it on the holes. You want it on the next to the holes. Give it a, you know, like a 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimeter away from the hole, and you just fold it over. Train your cover to fold over and sit flat. As I said, I've got that knot in the way. There's enough room there. I can flatten that out, and then you just train your pages, I should say, to open up. So I go ahead and I flatten them all out. Some of them will flatten out or naturally because they're thinner pages, but then, so anyway, that's and then you do the same on the back cover as well. Flatten that out, but not close, not on the holes. Got to make sure they're not on the holes, and press it down, and then you won't have any problems opening and shutting, any problems working on your journal because it's nice and flat. And so I'll give you a little show through of the journal, and I don't have as many papers or pages sticking up above and below this journal like I did this one, but I like that look. If you don't, if you've got straight pages, you probably won't have that, but we can have a go through your pages and make sure they're all in the right position and you're happy with them. So I like that. Okay, there's the one with the flap out, and train your papers as you go. Okay. So looking from the inside, you can see that image through there. Looking from the inside, you'd never know that the pages weren't sewn in or they were single pages. I just think this is such a simple way an easy way and fun as well doing this, especially when you're doing the panels, making pages out of panels glued together. It's just a fun little journal to play with. And then the next job, of course, is to go and start writing in a journal and decorating it and all those fun things, adding the elements and that. And so I think it all works well so far. There you go. There's that last page with the tracing paper. I love that paper. There we go. And then the last page. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you go ahead and make one of these for yourself. As I said, they're a lot of fun, easy to do, and you just have to go and grab all your bits and pieces, papers, and then you can replay this video, slow it down, and show you how to do the whole process. And then if you saw the last lot of videos, I showed how to decorate some of the pages, so which was a lot of fun, and I used images out of the book that I was creating. So I've got some pretty little images there that I can now use to decorate the journal. So that's it for this one. I'm excited to get started on writing in these ones, and I don't know which is my favorite now. I thought this one would be, but I love the cover of this one. So that I'll have to decide which one, or I might not write on any of them because they're too precious. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make this journal. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because I'll be bringing you lots more videos and tutorials on making journals and everything that goes in them. I wish everyone a happy crafty day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.